Yeah, that's right. I'm wearing a Marvel t-shirt and I'm reviewing a DC Comics movie. Sue me. What's going on, guys? Welcome to my Wonder Woman review. It is time to review Wonder Woman, the new DC movie in the DC Extended Cinematic Universe. And I know this is a bit late, but I finally got the chance to see Wonder Woman because the release dates are different here than they are in the States, and also I was waiting for a certain friend to see it with, so I finally got to see Wonder Woman, so now I finally get to talk about it. And this review is going to be completely spoiler-free. I'm not going to spoil anything about Wonder Woman for you in this video, so you are completely safe if you haven't seen Wonder Woman yet. If you haven't seen Wonder Woman yet, though, I highly recommend going to see it. Why haven't you seen Wonder Woman yet? But anyway, let's get into my review of Wonder Woman. First of all, I freaking love this movie. DC, thank you so much, DC. You finally worked out like the magic formula to making a good movie. You finally made a good movie, a movie that isn't divisive, a movie that gets high scores on Rotten Tomatoes, that critics and audiences for the majority just love. And I went to see this knowing that it had a high Rotten Tomatoes score, knowing that it was getting good reviews, and I was really excited and comforted by that fact. And I knew walking in, okay, I'm probably going to like this movie. It's probably going to be a good movie. I didn't know walking in that when I saw the movie and when I was leaving that I was going to love this movie as much as I did. What I love about this movie the most is that it doesn't stop. It doesn't miss a beat. The movie doesn't slow down for anything. And yes, there are, moments where it's not all action. It's not, there are sort of small intimate moments between certain characters. But I just mean, like, the pacing-wise, the pacing of the movie is so good that you don't feel, there was no moment in this movie where I went, okay, I'm a little bit bored, let's move on to the next scene. I didn't feel that at any point during this movie. Now, granted, I have only seen the movie one time. So I am going to go back and see it again, so maybe my opinion will change on that. But as of now, the movie didn't slow down for me. I was never bored during this movie. My favorite scene in the movie, and this isn't a spoiler, it's in the trailer, the scene you see, she's coming out of the trenches and she starts walking towards a bunch of German soldiers and they're shooting at her and she's just blocking bullets left and right. That's my favorite scene in the entire movie. You know what really surprised me about this movie was the score itself. And I don't just mean that awesome Wonder Woman theme that we hear in Batman v Superman. Because that theme could get me pumped up for anything, and that theme does play in this movie. But the rest of the score actually really took me by surprise. There were times where I thought maybe they could have replaced certain bits of the music with the Wonder Woman theme from that was introduced in Batman v Superman. I can understand why they didn't want to over-rely on that theme. Patty Jenkins directed the shit out of this movie. I'm gonna say something here that's a little bit controversial, okay? But go with me here for a second. I understand that it is really important that, this movie was directed by a woman and starring a woman and about the first female superhero. I get that and I really respect that. I think it's really important. But I don't like focusing on just a gender. I just think a really good director made a really good movie, and I applaud that. She did a fantastic job with this movie. Let's talk about Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, or Gal Gadot, or however you say it. So, a lot of people, including myself, were a little bit apprehensive about how she would do as, acting-wise in the role of Wonder Woman. I wasn't sure whether she was capable enough as an actress yet to lead a movie. Because, she was a model. Before that, she was in the Israeli army, but, she was a model, and then she had little tiny roles in Fast and Furious, and she wasn't really that good in those. She was fine, but, I don't feel like she was a good enough actress to lead a movie, and in this movie, in Wonder Woman, she proved me the fuck wrong. Any doubts I had about her as an actress are just gone, because there are scenes in this movie where she's got to act without saying much and just got to rely on conveying emotion and conveying what she's thinking just by the look on her face or just by the way she stands or carries herself. And she did that really, really well. Every time she just looks at someone, you sort of already know what she's thinking or what she's planning to do. That's how good that is. And I've always said this, I've said this in reviews before, but to me, a really good actor is able to act with their face, with expressions, and with the way they move their body. And Gal Gadot did that brilliantly in this movie. Even the dialogue she had to deliver. Yes, she's got that accent, and yes, it is a little bit distracting at times, and it can get a little bit hard to understand what she's saying, especially when she's, she's got long sentences to say. But that's not really her fault. And I do think there's no doubt anymore. There should be no question that she can act. She's a good actress. She did a fantastic job in this movie. People kept saying, she didn't need to be a good actress because she's got the physicality for the role. And to me, that's not the most important thing. It's like, yeah, you should be able to, you should look like the character. You should have the physicality. It is important. But to me, if you can't deliver a line of dialogue, if your dialogue and your, expressions come off as just fake and wooden and boring, then, physicality doesn't mean shit if you can't deliver dialogue well. And Gal Gadot did both of those things perfectly. There were scenes where she had to be emotional, and I felt it. I felt it to my core. Let's talk about Chris Pine. Chris Pine... I love Chris Pine as an actor. I really do. I love him in Star Trek movies. I love him in pretty much anything he's been in, okay? He's one of my favorite actors today. And he was a great supporting character in this movie. He played Steve Trevor, who's the pilot that crashes on the island of Themyscira that Wonder Woman saves. And he did a fantastic job in this movie. There's some... The dynamic between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot, just as actors, not even as characters, they have great on-screen chemistry, and that's really important. Unlike someone like Natalie Portman and Chris Hemsworth in Thor, Chris Pine and Gal Gadot, they work so well together. And you can tell it's a real tennis match of acting, because, acting is often like tennis match. If you hit the ball to me, I've got to hit it back to you. The chemistry was off the charts, amazing. Okay, let's get on to some nitpicks that I have with this movie, and they are only very, very small nitpicks that really, they don't affect what I think about this movie overall. So my first one would be the island of Themyscira where Wonder Woman is from. You've seen a bit of it in the trailers. My only nitpick with that is that we didn't see enough of it. I wanted to see more. The movie pretty much starts out there, and I was just so overwhelmed by this beautiful world that they created with the island of Themyscira. I love the lore, and I love the Amazons as characters, and just their environment. I loved it. I was in it, and I wanted more of it. And not that I thought, they showed what they needed to for the movie. They did. They showed, exactly how much they needed to of Themyscira. The story demanded that at a certain point we move on from there, and that's okay with me. But as someone who I really enjoyed the time we spent there, and I just felt like I want more, I want more, I want more. And maybe that's a good thing, because maybe in another movie we go back there, I don't know. A couple of other little nitpicks I have is, okay, maybe the CGI at times especially during the third act, maybe it was a little bit overbaked and a little bit overdone and over the top. But again, that doesn't really bother me, because most movies nowadays that we see are, pretty CGI heavy. And it wasn't to say the CGI was bad. It didn't take me out of the movie, but I do feel like maybe it was a little bit overdone and overused, especially in the third act. But again, that's a minor nitpick for me. I can watch the movie and maybe I think the third act did kind of go on for a bit longer. Maybe you could have cut it down a little bit. Again, something didn't really bother me, but I did notice. Now, I wanted to talk about the villain of the movie without spoiling who the villain is, in case you don't know. A lot of people do know who the villain is, and they did know before going in to see the movie, because I think it's, been officially revealed, but I don't want to reveal who it is, just because I don't really want to get into spoiler territory at all. I don't want to get anywhere near that. So, I've heard some people say, the villain is just kind of there. And the villain's kind of tacked on, and it's a bit like a Marvel villain. You don't really get much of him, and you don't know much about the villain. And to me, I don't know about that. I think, you know, throughout the movie, especially when you're on Themyscira, they're kind of setting you up for who the villain is. You know, all the Amazons, they're talking about the villain. They're saying, you know, he's going to come. He's going to, you know, do things. He's going to cause havoc, and you know, they pretty much tell you his backstory before he shows up. And I felt like when he did show up, I already knew, and I knew what I needed to know about him, so that when he showed up, I knew what he was there for. So I don't think he was underdone at all. I don't think the villain was sort of underdeveloped or underutilized. I think the villain had perfect placement in the movie, really, I do. And really, people crap on, say, the Marvel villains or villains that, you know, aren't Darth Vader level, and to me it's like, well, this movie was about Wonder Woman and it should have been about Wonder Woman. It shouldn't have taken away time from her story to explain more of the villain's story. That's how I feel at any rate. Now, I am going to say something a little bit controversial here, and a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and that is perfectly okay. A lot of you might agree with me, and that is okay too. So I've titled this movie Wonder Woman is the best movie of 2017 so far, and walking into Wonder Woman, I was talking to my friend and I was like, so we're halfway through the year, it's already June, and to me Logan is still the best movie of the year. I wonder what could possibly top it. And I went in and I watched Wonder Woman and I came out going, actually halfway through Wonder Woman I realized, I think, to me and anyway, that Wonder Woman is the best movie of the year. I think Wonder Woman is better than Logan, and a lot of people are going to crack up at me for that, and that's perfectly fine. If you think, look, it takes away nothing from Logan. Logan is an amazing movie. I even bought the Blu-ray yesterday, but Wonder Woman to me is such a special movie. So overall, I really, really enjoyed Wonder Woman, as you can tell. I love this movie so much. I'm gonna go and see it again multiple times. Let me know what you think of Wonder Woman in the comment section below. Have you seen it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you think it's better than Logan, or do you think Logan is the best movie of the year? What do you think is the best movie of the year so far? We're already into June, we're already halfway through the year. What do you think is the best movie of the year, or what is your favorite movie of the year? Comment down below. Let's have a discussion about Wonder Woman and about the movies that have come out this year. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm doing my series of Star Wars reviews with my friend Ali, so make sure to stick around and check those out. And, you know, lots more movie reviews and videos and content to come. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.